This is your family's first and most important line of defense against Mother Nature. When she strikes, make sure you call the people that I trust, my family and friends at Exterior Home Solutions.
Exterior Home Solutions 2-minute drill. Tennessee dominated from the jump, 42-17. They fell behind 21-0 at the end of the first quarter and just never recovered.
No, never did. I mean, it felt like everything you kind of wanted leading into this game was there. Orange was everywhere. I mean, hats off to the Tennessee fan base.
Yeah.
Loud. They were booing Ohio State when they took the field. I don't know how many were here, but I mean, there was orange everywhere. And everything you kind of wanted leading into this game was there. It's just Tennessee had a horrible start. And give Tennessee credit, battled back in the second quarter and, outscored Ohio State 10-0. It was 21-10 there. You felt like if they got that score, even a field goal or whatever, but if you scored to win that middle eight, it's like, okay, brand new ball game. You didn't. Ohio State scores a touchdown, and from there it was like, okay, well, this is probably it. But end of the day, Tennessee got whipped. Line of scrimmage.
They did. They got whipped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Ohio State was the better team, from the get-go. And realistically, they had no answers. Offensively, they couldn't get anybody open. They couldn't protect. Defensively, Jeremiah Smith and Ibuka and basically any running back out of the backfield on a wheel route just ran free.
Somebody asked on the board, the mesh route essentially, does Tennessee have that in their playbook? And I mean, every playbook in America has a mesh route. Tennessee doesn't run it, but that's all that was. And, when Tennessee's defensive backs were in man coverage, they were too slow. When Tennessee was in zone, the linebackers were completely lost. You're right. The wheel route, a couple different times, Henderson or Junkins or whoever, they put him in motion, put him out there wide, and nobody would pick him up. I mean, it was really, really bad. But the most frustrating part about it, at least on the defensive end, I mean, what are we talking about for 3 weeks? What did we talk about going into the Georgia game? This offensive line is battered, bruised, it's beat up. What an opportunity there is. Will Howard looked like Peyton Manning out there completing passes. He had the career game of his life. That's what's frustrating. Your defensive front seven were just so ineffective, and it really didn't help that back end.
It did not. And when you look at, the way this game played out, Tennessee just never got out of the gates. We talked about that being a key, getting out of the gates. And no Dylan Sampson, basically. He tried to give it a go, a hamstring, and that's something they kind of kept under wraps. I mean, Dylan Sampson said he was the healthiest he felt all season. And then, you hear hype, well, he's not been with us until like this week, and, we got him back out there. We knew he'd be limited, but we thought he'd be able to go, and he just wasn't able to. Yeah. And that's a blow. I mean, he's the offensive player of the year in the league.
No, it absolutely is a blow, and I don't want to try to minimize that because it is. And Joey Halsey was asked, does that kind of affect your play calling? And it does, because he referenced you're the SEC Player of the Year. However, when you get your tail whipped at the point of attack on the line of scrimmage, I mean, what more can you do? It's not like Lewis was running for ages or Bishop, and Nico ran pretty well tonight, but half of those were scrambles because the line didn't block in front of him. So I don't want to minimize that. It absolutely is a deal that Sampson pretty much was a no-go tonight. But the way you blocked up front and the way you weren't winning early downs to get in your tempo, it's not like it mattered much.
No, I mean, again, Ohio State was the better team. The talent gap looked pretty wide between those two teams.
Yeah.
Ohio State's put a bunch of money into their transfers. Their transfers hit. I mean, Caleb Downs, fantastic. I mean, you can go right down the list of the guys they brought into this program. You talk about Will Howard. He may have played like crap against Michigan, but he did not tonight, and he was dropping dimes.
The center didn't play tonight, but he's obviously a good one too.
Yeah, correct. And Tennessee's transfers did not, at least not tonight. I mean, Jamal McCoy struggled. All things considered. Lance Hurd struggled.
Mm-hmm.
John Campbell's not a brand new transfer, but he's still a transfer. He played not very well, and so Tennessee's got to go back to the drawing board. We'll see what they do. Remember, the portal is going to remain open until the 28th. So
that 5-day window doesn't affect Tennessee.
Correct. It will not affect them. So it basically just between now and the 28th. So basically a week.
And
you can bet there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be trying to renegotiate deals. And listen, Tennessee got their butt whipped. Okay, that's not why they lost this game. But the fact that kids are sitting there in the last couple of weeks trying to negotiate deals and renegotiate deals and all those things that go on because this warped system that they have, that just adds to the nonsense. And let's throw in the fact that, for the next 7 days, that's what Josh Heupel and company are going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be wild.
It's like your season's over. You go to the college football playoff, and not only do you lose like that, and now you got to turn around and deal with a bunch of kids asking for a whole lot of money. And we'll see what happens. I was going to say, kind of set the table for you there. I mean, it's going to be fast and furious. There will be other guys that jump in the transfer portal. There will be guys that threaten to leave that we don't know about. It's going to be a wild next, probably 10 days or so, right?
Yeah, they're going to have to figure some things out and make the right decisions for next year, and then decide what they want to do as far as going into the portal. But Tennessee's going to have some decisions to make. Josh Heupel will have some decisions to make pertaining to his roster, and then we'll see what happens with his coaching staff. You just never know who's going to come try to hire somebody away, or who gets a job elsewhere, and so all those things can factor over the next handful of days and weeks, especially when you're talking about the coaches. So just a lot to digest. Tennessee drops this one 42-17.
I know we're about to do the podcast. I know we're out of time here, but let me just hit it to you here to end it. It's frustrating when you lose like this. Okay, it's frustrating when your season's over. You did have 10 wins. You did make the college football playoff. You did beat 2 of your biggest 3. Anything to the Tennessee fan base to kind of say, like, I understand the frustrations, but overall, I mean, this is a year that you wanted to be in the playoffs, and you were.
You were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you lost this game 23-20, like I predicted, which was, I don't think you're feeling this way. It's the fact that it was 42-17. It was 21-0.
42-10 until that late touchdown.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, but you still got to play to the gun. I mean, every score counts. So I mean, like, it wasn't close, and that's the stinging part for, again, 30,000 Tennessee fans that'll sleep up here tonight and drive home in the morning, or drive back right now as we tape this. I mean, that's the second part. The fans showed up. The program did not, and that includes the coaches, players. Josh Heupel talked about it being disappointing. Well, it better be, because it's a gut punch to a group of fans that they rallied the troops all week. They talked about kneeling north. They played Rocky Top every which way, and on these jukeboxes up here in Columbus, and then they got thrown back at them. So now they feel kind of like the brunt of it.
It's a great way to describe it. Not like the program meant to do any of this, but it was the fan base showed up, and the program did not. And that's, again, like, it's one of those where, like, you want to sit here and say, okay, well, this was a step in the right direction. This is a podcast topic later on, but it's the way it ended. Yeah. The way it ended tonight, nobody's going to be
still a step in the right direction. You're in the college football playoff. 4 years ago, no one would have thought that, and yet here they were. I listened to Derek Dooley and Matt Sims make a prediction on this game today on Sirius XM radio. Let's remember where we were, collectively, whether it's us covering it, fans watching it, or the players playing in it, just a decade ago, much less 4 or 5 years ago when Tennessee was struggling. So a lot to digest. We'll break it all down. We'll continue to try to cover the portal the best we can. He's Eric Kane for this extended edition of the Exterior Home Solutions 2-Minute Drill. I'm Austin Price.